Hello and welcome back to another in-depth weather video. Today we're going to be focusing on Isaias as well as the heavy rainfall and thunderstorm threats. So I am going to be starting off in a different place today, so I'm going to be leaving timestamps down below. We're going to start off with the tropics, then we're going to move on into heavy rainfall, storm prediction center, and then finish off with some more models. So just follow the timestamps below. If you don't want to listen to the tropics, skip through that to the other segment today. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another in-depth weather video. So today we're going to be focusing on the Atlantic as we have Isaias. Currently, maximum sustained winds of 60 miles an hour, minimum central pressure of 999 millibars, and moving northwest at 18 miles an hour. We also have our next wave, which has 40% chance of development in the next 48 hours and 5 days. So we're going to be focusing mainly on Isaias because we now have something that is expected to become a hurricane. We have hurricane warnings in much of the Bahamas. We still have those tropical storm warnings in the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and in the Turks and Caicos Islands. So I'm going to go straight to the warnings and cone. So it is expected to become a hurricane here soon. You already saw here on the surface winds, you saw some of those reds. That is hurricane force winds. So we could see a hurricane here in the next few hours. I would not be surprised from when the time that I'm filming this, which is about midnight, that this gets upgraded in the next hour or two. So expect to stay a hurricane through Monday, and then end up in the northeast on early Tuesday. So Florida already has tropical storm watches in place. I would not be surprised that if the next advisory upgrades those to hurricane watches or even hurricane warnings. This is going to get closest to the Florida coast, close to Miami-Dade County, and then pull off a little bit until it ends up in North Carolina, the Outer Banks, move through there, and then probably will get close to Cape Cod as well. So this is definitely something that we have to watch. This is a main point if you tune into the Weather Channel or Weather Nation, whatever weather service you watch, or even if you live on the East Coast, any local station, they're probably going to be talking about this storm. So you will be getting a lot of information on this in the next few days. So arrival time of winds with 5-day wind speed probabilities. In Florida, expect this in the very south of Florida, Saturday at 8 a.m. If you're in the central parts of the Florida Peninsula, Saturday at 8 p.m. and then northern Florida, Sunday at 8 a.m. And that also includes parts of very southern Georgia. Most of the Georgia coastline, as well as most of the South Carolina coastline, between Sunday at 8 a.m. and Sunday at 8 p.m. and Monday at 8 a.m. The northern South Carolina coastline, as well as most of the south and central parts of the North Carolina coastline, Monday 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and then from North Carolina to New Jersey, 8 p.m. Monday to Tuesday at 8 a.m. The rest of the Northeast should be expecting the earliest of the winds between Tuesday at 8 a.m. and Tuesday at 8 p.m. Then you can even get into Nova Scotia, some of those tropical storm force winds. Key messages with this system. We have a lot of them. We have 4. Isaias will produce heavy rains and potentially life-threatening flash flooding and mudslides across the Dominican Republic, northern Haiti, Turks and Caicos, and the Bahamas. Hurricane or tropical storm conditions and dangerous storm surge are expected in portions of the northwestern and central Bahamas late Friday and Saturday. And hurricane and tropical storm warnings, respectively, are in effect for these areas. Preparations to protect life and property should be rushed to completion. tropical storm conditions will continue to spread across portions of the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Turks and Caicos, and the southeastern Bahamas tonight through Friday, and tropical storm warnings are in effect for these areas. So, number 3, tropical storm conditions are possible along portions of the Florida East Coast beginning Saturday, and a tropical storm watch is in effect. While storm surge watches are not currently needed for this area, they may be required on Friday if the forecast track shifts closer to the coast. Heavy rains associated with Isaias may begin to affect South Florida and East Central Florida beginning late Friday night, potentially resulting in isolated flash flooding and urban flooding, especially in low-lying and poorly drained areas. 4. There is a risk of impacts from winds, heavy rainfall, and storm surge late this weekend from the northeastern Florida coast and spreading northward along the remainder of the U.S. East Coast through early next week. The details of the track and intensity forecast remain uncertain, and it is too soon to determine the magnitude and location of these potential impacts. But interests along the entire U.S. East Coast should monitor the progress of Isaias and updates to the forecast. So, let's move on to the NAM 3-kilometer model, where we're going to start to peek in with this storm, especially in the southeast. I want to focus on the southeast with the impacts on Florida. So, if we start to look in on this, you can start to see outer bands moving through the Bahamas, and then you can start to see some of those starting to work in. This would be Eastern time, midnight tomorrow. So midnight tomorrow, starting to see those outer bands work in. Then next outer band moves in, that's 10 a.m. Then I think the closest that this will get is probably right over here. That's at midnight on Sunday. Then you continue to see those outer bands battering the coast. Now if we continue to move on to the 12-kilometer model, we're going to start to see that this will diminish like the accuracy of it, but it also broadens the range, so it's a give and take there. So this will slowly start to move up the east coast of Florida. It's going to be very long until this impact on Florida actually ends. Starting midnight Saturday, ending possibly Monday into Tuesday. So we definitely have to watch this for heavy rain. I feel like that's going to be a major threat with this system, just because even though the eye of the storm will not be making landfall on Florida, the winds that far extend out from the center of the storm, and 2, the rain bands just pushing onto the coast repeatedly with how slow the system's going to move, especially if it gets into this little, I kind of like to call it a cubby hole, into this cubby hole right over here between North Carolina and Florida. So this area right along the Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina coasts should be really watching this storm right now. And once it gets further north and east, it'll probably eventually lose strength. As it gets further north, that's cooler waters, less energy. But right now it has plenty of energy, and parts of the Bahamas, including Nassau, will get absolutely hammered by this system. Then you have areas of Florida, Miami-Dade County could be part of that. Then you move up, you move past Cape Canaveral, and then you start to get into the effects of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. So, that is all I have on Isaias. Now, let's move on to the excessive rainfall and thunderstorm outlooks. Alright, so here is the excessive rainfall outlook for today. We have marginal risks in Colorado and New Mexico, and then a large area of marginal and slight risks in the central to eastern parts of the country. So, slight risks in Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, North Carolina, Virginia, and West Virginia. And then we also have marginal risks anywhere in this dark green from Texas and Kansas all the way through New Jersey and maybe parts of New York, as well as North Carolina. So if you are in the marginal risk, that is 5% to 10% chance of flash flooding guidance. So rainfall exceeding flash flooding guidance within 25 miles of the point. Slight risk is 10 to 20% chance of that same thing. So let's move on to the Storm Prediction Center for our thunderstorm outlook. So we have marginal risks today. So we have areas of New Mexico, as well as areas from Texas around Fort Stockton, to up into areas of Nashville and Chattanooga, as well as a little cut here into the mid-Atlantic coast, including Virginia Beach. So if you are in this darker shade of green, that is a marginal risk, and that is covering a population of 20,894,089 over an area of 284,967 square miles. So larger population centers: Austin, Texas, Memphis, Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, Virginia Beach, Virginia, and Norfolk, Virginia. So marginal risks, that is 1 to 5 on the scale. And you have this light green color, which is general thunderstorms, which means that you have a chance of receiving thunderstorms, but there's a very low risk of any of them being severe. Tornado risk, we have 2% risk in a 37,000 square mile area with a population of 3 million, including Memphis, Tennessee, Little Rock, Arkansas, North Little Rock, Arkansas, Jonesboro, Arkansas, and Pine Bluff, Arkansas. So that is the population centers, 2% risk of tornadoes. Strong winds, we have everywhere in the marginal risk. So same population centers, strong winds. Now hail, you have everywhere pretty much. You have 109,000 square miles, 5.5 million in this area. Includes Austin, Texas, Shreveport, Louisiana, Waco, Texas, Killeen, Texas, and Tyler, Texas as the largest population centers. Now let's move on to the NAM 3-kilometer model. We're going to be looking into some of these threats. So we have, this is the excessive rainfall threat right here. Stalled front, just rounds and rounds of rain. And those could carry those thunderstorms as well through, Texas, then into this next round here through areas of Tennessee, Missouri, Arkansas, and then earlier in the day would probably be those Virginia thunderstorms as well. Then in New Mexico and Colorado, that's the monsoonal moisture, just some storms starting to move through this area. That's typical for this time of year. But then eventually, this storm will start to move its way northward as Isaias kind of affects it a bit. So you kind of have this stalled front, but you have this high pressure out here that's going to force everything to move north and east. So that'll eventually be pushing through a very common area that was being hit, especially in the winter, the Great Lakes area. And that'll eventually move into Canada. So that is all I have for today. It was a bit of a longer episode, but there's a lot to cover, and that has caused me to completely kind of forget about deep dive. So comment down below. I want to have like a fan driven deep dive, because it's going to be kind of on a short notice. So what do you want the deep dive on? And I will choose one of those, or I also have one on the back burner that I was thinking of too. So comment that in the comment section down below, and thank you guys for watching. Have a great Friday, and I'll see you guys next time.